Ladies and gentlemen, when I was invited to this seminar, I gracefully accepted this because this is for the first time and oldest law college of this part of land has invited me to my hometown for a public address. This is my first public address in my hometown. But I was equally surprised at that point of time that why I was asked to deliver this speech. I am not a lawyer, neither a social scientist. I am a humble scribe, and my duty is not to give a big lecture, but to write or to speak on the television. So, my observations will not be of academic nature. My observations will be an observation of a journalist. From journalistic point of view, I would like to make my speech. So, issue is citizenship and identity. Mr. Hazarika tried to relate it with the ethnicity. And that's a big perspective and very useful perspective, very relevant perspective. But I would like to observe the matter from a different perspective. So, while we're discussing the issue of identity and citizenship, couple of questions may come to your mind. First of all, whether the both identity and citizenship are identical in nature. Identity, you know, porichoy, and citizenship, you know, nagarikatva. So whether both the entity notion or the perception, whatever you call it, both identity and citizenship are identical in nature or not, number one. Number two, if both are not identical in nature, then whether citizenship and identity is correlated or not. Number three, if it is not correlated, then whether identity and citizenship is mutually exclusive or not. If you put it in the order A, B, C, and if you put a question in D, that all above are correct or / incorrect. I would like to say that all above are correct. If you take the third and the fourth dimension, that is time and space, into account, then you will find that in some cases, identity and citizenship both are mutually exclusive. Take the case of 1942 Quit India movement. The Second World War was on, and Cripps mission came down to India to discuss about the role of India in current war. The communists, they have decided not to fight back Britishers because Stalin had already joined the Allied force. It was now up to the Congress party to decide whether they will support Britishers and stop Quit India movement and join war. That was a crucial point of time of history for people of India. And the president of All India Congress Committee was Maulana Abul Kalam Azad. Maulana Abul Kalam Azad was assigned to discuss the fate of Indian people with the cabinet mission. Not a single Hindu asked any question that why our fate has been handed over or why a Muslim has been assigned to decide our future fate or future course of action. Because at that point of time, the aspiration and the dream for a new country, a new independent India was so powerful that it had overwhelmed the all sense of identity. But my point, at that point of time, the identity and citizenship is mutually exclusive. But in some space and in some time, the identity and citizenship may be identical. Take the case of Pakistan. Pakistan, it is a theocratic state, it is an Islamic state, but the Ahmadiyas are structurally discriminated. The Ahmadiyas are excommunicated. Their rights, civil rights, are very limited. They had amended the constitution to excommunicate the Ahmadiyas, although all of them are Muslims. That is a structural discrimination. And in Pakistan, the citizenship is identified with identity. So in that space and that time, the citizenship and identity is identical in nature. Take the third case, whether both are correlated or not. Take the case of current war, Ukraine war. You all know the geography and politics of Ukraine and Russia. The eastern part of Ukraine, in the eastern part of Ukraine, there are two states, namely Luhansk and Donetsk. This area is called Donbass. They are close to Russia, and majority of the people are Russian-speaking people. And the western part, the major areas of Ukraine, they don't speak Russian. They are Ukrainian-speaking people, and they feel affinity, they have an affinity towards the Eastern European countries like Poland, Hungary, Slovakia, Moldova, etc., etc. So now, the people of Luhansk and Donetsk, they have been fighting for a long. They want to be associated with Russia because of their identity. They are Russian-speaking. That's why they want to be citizen of Russia. They don't want to remain as a citizen of Ukraine. At that point of time, time and space, the citizenship and identity correlates. Now, I have a very limited time, but still, okay. Now, I would like to quote one very famous political scientist. While he discussing about the citizenship and identity, Mr. Andrew Haywood, you know Haywood better than me. Mr. Andrew Haywood say, a citizen is a member of a political community which is defined by a set of rights and obligations. Quote, citizen therefore represents a relationship between the individual and the state. That is very important. The relationship between individual and the state, in which two are bound together by reciprocal rights and obligations. Citizenship is a legal status of an identity. Thus, there is an objective dimension of citizenship, specific rights and obligations which a state invests in its members, and a subjective dimension, a sense of loyalty and belonging. However, objective citizenship does not in itself ensure the existence of subjective citizenship, because the members of group that feel alienated from the state, I would like to emphasize on this point, the members of groups that feel alienated from their state, perhaps because of the social disadvantage or racial discrimination, cannot properly be taught as a full citizen, even though they may enjoy a range of formal entitlements. Here comes the idea of discrimination, the notion of discrimination. Ladies and gentlemen, 5 years back, on a rainy evening, I was asked to deliver the Foundation Day lecture of Guwahati High Court. At that time, Chief Justice was Mr. A.K. Singh. He was also on dais. In my speech, 5 years back, I told them that the social discrimination is a prevalent social reality in India. It was there, it is there, and it will remain for some time to come. But 75 years back, the makers of our constitution, did not allow this social discrimination come to the structure. That's why the constitutional morality is very clear that there is no discrimination in the lines of our constitution. But in society discrimination is there. And 5 years back when I was making my speech, I told them that I am afraid discrimination is coming to the structure. And you, the lawyer fraternity, will have to play the most crucial role of Indian history in this point of time at this junction. No one can save India if the discrimination comes to the structure. Take the case of CAA, Citizenship Amendment Act. I don't want to elaborate. But it ensures the citizenship in terms of identity. It is not inclusive. One can have multiple identity. I have an Indian passport. I am born and brought up in India. That's why I am an Indian. My citizenship status is an Indian. When coming to Assam, I am an Assamese because I am an Assamese speaking, born and brought up in an Assamese family. This is my secondary identity. And in my family, my race counts. In my clan, in my biradari, my race counts. This is my tertiary identity. So one can have multiple identity, the same individual. But it is not in the structure. In the constitution or any legal proviso, I am not treated by my race. I am a citizen of India by birth, and it is inclusive in nature. But CAA, this particular piece of law, has ensured the citizenship in terms by its religious denomination, by his or her identity. So whether this is a discriminatory piece of law or not, that Supreme Court will decide. The petitions are pending. But I again want to come back to the time and space, because it is the state, one Hayut said, that it is up to the state to decide whether the citizenship will be determined by identity or not, whether the citizenship will determine your identity. I would like to repeat, whether your identity will determine your citizenship or your citizenship status will determine your identity. That matters, and it is up to the state. Now I'd like to come to the matter of Foreigners Tribunal. Foreigners Tribunal is supposed to identify the foreigners, check their documents, and if they cannot produce valid documents, the FT, the Foreigners Tribunal, can put them behind the bars and can arrange for deportation. Government can arrange for deportation. Fine. There is no issue. There is no problem with that. But what the Foreigners Tribunals are doing now, I am quoting one book written by Mr. Abhishek Saha, one of my good friends, a journalist. It is written, the government data shows that a vast majority of FT verdicts are ex parte. The citizenship, the crucial issue, has been decided ex parte. This is a very important point. In 2019, the Minister of State Home, Mr. G.K. Reddy, told the Parliament, according to government data, till October 2019, a total of 468,905 cases had been referred to FTs, resulting in 1,29,009 persons being declared foreigners and 1,14,225 persons Indians. A person declared foreigners by FT is liable to be arrested and put in a detention camp though he can appeal in the High Court. Now, in 2015 and 5096 persons in the next year, okay. But in 2017, the number spiked to 15,541. In 2018, by August, the declared foreigner. The 13,558 person had been declared foreigner. It is alleged that the interference of executive in aptis that has been increased. Okay. Now, number of cases. As many as 50% of the cases disposed by foreigners tribunals are ex parte. Because of the absence of the person, the foreigners tribunal disposed the case and declared a person foreigner. Even if he has the documents, and it is all the Salimuddin and Rahimuddin case, all the people, they are migrant laborers. Quite a good number of them are migrant laborers, and they used to move around all over India with their contractors. They had not got the notices. While asked, where is the notice? The notice was hanged on a lamppost. It is pasted on a shopkeeper's wall. This Rahimuddin, Salimuddin people, they don't know. Now, while they were serving notice, they were working in Kerala. Some of them are working in brick kilns of Misa and somewhere else. They did not know about the notice. And while coming back home, they discovered that police are looking for them. And they were put behind the bars because they were declared foreigners ex parte because of their absence in the court. Question is whether status of citizenship can be decided ex parte or not. Here is the matter. Why these FTs are declaring these people foreigners ex parte? Because there is a pressure on FTs. I would like to quote. The contracts of 19 FT members were terminated. 19 members' contracts were terminated because of their performance was unsatisfactory. These members could not satisfy their higher authority. Their performance were unsatisfactory. Who decide their performance? Who has been monitoring the performance? These FT members are selected by Guwahati High Courts, and their performance is monitored by Ministry of Home Affairs. Fine, they are selected by Guwahati High Court, but they are not working under Guwahati High Court. Their performance is monitored by Ministry of Home Affairs. It is the state. Now, state wants that FT members should dispose this number of cases within this span of time. What is the way out for FT members? They used to dispose all the cases ex parte, and High Court is overburdened with the appeal petition. Why state is doing this? Why Minister of Home Affairs, while monitoring the performance of FT members, are doing this? Because state wants that your citizenship should be defined or determined by your identity, not by your legal papers. State want that we will ensure your identity, we will ensure your citizenship if you belong to a particular set of people, a particular race or particular religion. We cannot ensure the inclusive citizenship. That is the junction on which we are standing, and I am grateful to the organizers of this seminar for taking up this very crucial issue, and I am sure with the presence of galaxy of scholars and legal luminaries, this will be a grand success. Thank you everyone for patient hearing.